Thank you so much for coming out. Lady Margaret organized all of this. She is just so amazing. You know, having all of you lovely people in the house is testimony to Lady Margaret, her vision, and jazz on the South Side. Jazz that will never die on the South Side. As we remember all of those legends who made jazz so awesome. Woo! Now, I wasn't here when 63rd and 43rd and all those other places were popping because I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois, and we didn't have very much jazz down there. But we had a little blues. And we did have Miles Davis, and we had Josephine Baker, and we had Tina Turner. They don't always like to admit it, but yes, they were from East St. Louis, or at least they passed through East St. Louis. Anyway, tonight we are so honored to present the second in the series of Southside Jazz Legends. Woo! It is going to be a very, very fun night. We're going to start off with some conversations with two of our legends, Miss Sasha Daltonn. I remember when I was down on 18th in Michigan years ago. I don't even remember. First Impression, was that the name of that place? Brief Reflections. Oh my gosh. How many people remember Brief Reflections? Down on 18th in Michigan. That was the spot for a while. I think our cocktail waitress there for a hot minute at a different point in my life. But I saw Miss Sasha Daltonn doing Sasha Sings Dinah, and I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I was so inspired. I wasn't even singing then. I was just singing in the shower. And I saw this beautiful woman. She was so awesome. I says, oh, I want to be like her. And girl, stop it. When somebody gives you a compliment, what y'all supposed to say? Thank you. Okay? Your mama's taught you well. I wish I could bring those mamas back, because, child, I'm working in the schools with these children. Have mercy, Jesus. Just pray for me, girl. Pray for me. So, I'm not going to talk anymore, because we also have the lovely Miss June Yvon. Long time ago, I used to go to June Yvon to get my hair done. You know, she could fry up some hair. She could toss it, wash it, toss it, do everything with that hair, okay? But Miss June Yvon would always have jazz going in the background, and she'd be tootling and doodling and doing some hair. And next thing I knew, Miss June Yvon was on the set. And I went and saw her. I was like, dang, this girl can sing. Woo! And then we're going to have those two lovely ladies. We're going to have them up on the stage in just a few minutes. And then after the interview, we are going to hear the songbird, Miss Carolyn Fitzhugh. Yes, so you guys are in for an evening. And I heard, Miss Carolyn Fitzhugh, she just turns it out. Yes, she does. And I heard her band. Oh, my gosh. So you guys are in for an evening of fun. We got some other songbirds in the house. You know, they normally come to my backyard. I don't know if y'all going to be in my backyard this summer, but I'll let you know what's happening. I'll let you know. Some people say, I'm going to be in your backyard. I don't care what's going on. Anyway, without further ado, I'd like to get this party started, and I'd like to bring these ladies to the stage. How about a nice big round of applause for our honorees tonight? Miss June Yvon and Miss Sasha Daltonn. I got the Brownsville diva up here looking at me. So I just had to say something. Brownsville diva. Oh my gosh. I don't know, don't let me start. I'll do that later at my own backyard. I'm going to have at least one, y'all. I'm going to have at least one. Okay. So I'm going to start this conversation off with Miss June Yvon. June, what inspired you to become a jazz singer?
Well, I always did like jazz, and there was plenty going on in my house. You know, they would beat my mom and dad, all of them, and they would move the furniture out of the room. And
can you talk into the mic?
They would move
Take that mic off the stand.
Okay,
Just hold it.
okay.
Like you do when you sing.
Yeah. Yeah, as I was saying, early in my life, my family, they had jazz going all the time, bebop. And I enjoyed the rhythm of it, and they would dance around and round and round all day and night. And I would join them, and I started listening real good, and I learned how to time the music. So all I needed to do was learn the lyrics, which I was not good at, but I did anyway. And my hubby used to try to get me to get out and sing, but I was shy.
Come on. Miss June Shy, who
Believe it or
believes
not,
that?
believe it or not, I would have parties at the house and hire vocals to come and sing. And my hubby, he said, you want to do it, get on out there. So I did. And I'm enjoying it very much. And I'm enjoying you guys enjoying me.
And we do enjoy you. Yes,
Yes.
indeed. Yes, indeed, we do. Okay, so Miss Sasha Daltonn, Miss Sasha, what inspired you to become a jazz singer?
Well, it's interesting because I took a different path. Um, I started out in the entertainment business when I was very young, and I wasn't. I had an aunt who was. Okay, I can't hear. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I started out enjoying music and being introduced to music when and the stage when I was maybe 6 years old, and I would travel with my aunt and uncle in the summers when I was out of school or at Christmas. She was a entertainer, and she and her husband had a singing and dance group, and so they would put me on the stage. She'd teach me a couple of songs, and I get on the stage, and I always say, I opened up for Wayne Newton. Well, not really true. They opened up for Wayne Newton, and I was on the stage. But but then I guess my course to jazz actually came because I listened to so much music in my home. I was from a home of singers, musicians, and people who really enjoyed music. So every day, Dinah Washington was playing, or Sarah Vaughan, or Nat King Cole, or Duke Ellington. And all of my family, all of my generation, they're singers, but they sing gospel. And I always thought, well, they're really great, but, and they are. But I got into jazz, I think, because of theater. I really was more into acting as I got older and into the performing arts. And because I could sing, I would sing those songs that I heard. And those songs, as we know, many of the songs that you hear from Broadway shows or productions are songs that we sing and jazz, call it jazz, but they're actually songs from shows. So that's how I did it. And getting into Dinah Washington was part of that path.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Can I just ask you? This is not on my list, but what singer or singers really inspired you?
Well, first of all, it was like Dinah and Sarah and Morgana King. I love the smoothness of her tone, her voice. And every time she came to town, I was there. So they're the ones, and all the rest. Carmen McRae, beautiful. I learned how to phrase from, especially Carmen.
I
But
can hear it. Yeah. Can't you guys hear it? Yeah, yeah. Okay. What about you, Sasha?
Well, I guess I always listened to Dinah, and I always listened to Ella. I loved Ella Fitzgerald. I loved Billie Holiday and Alberta Hunter. And so these were singers that I listened to most of the time. Nat King Cole. It wasn't just the females, Joe Williams. And I don't know if I think when it comes to capturing a style or the essence of one of my favorite singers, it would be Dinah Washington. But I kind of liked them all. I loved Carmen. She was fantastic. And there's so many singers that have really been the way makers that we don't talk about enough, and we forget them and forget that they were here. And even recent ones like Gloria Lynn, a master, a master. So I listen to those types of artists.
Yeah, I grew up listening to Nancy Wilson. Oh my God, she was just my idol. Oh, I had a little phonograph my parents bought me, and it was right by my bed. I just play her all day, all night, all day the next day. I knew every song she ever made. I just love that lady. And it's not about me. Let me get back to my questions. Um, what song, or is there a song that is your favorite that kind of um, helps, that kind of defines your style? A go-to song for you?
My first song, everyone thought it was a rather hard song to do, but I didn't. It was Sophisticated Lady, you know, and I went on a jazz cruise, and they let me sing it there on the ship. So,
Well, you are a sophisticated lady, so I can
thank
understand
you.
why that might be your song. Yes. What about you, Miss Sasha?
I guess mine would be What a Difference a Day Made.
Yeah.
Absolutely, hands down. And it is one of uh, Dinah's, what do you call it? Yeah, it's one of her many signature songs because she had so many, but it also is a song that so many artists had recorded, and you could hear any number of people doing it. So, but when it comes to capturing the essence of the vocalist, I would say it was Dinah.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I want to hear about that first gig that you ever got. Not when you were sitting in, but when you got that actual gig where you got paid. I don't care if it was $10. What was that gig?
Wardell Reese, you might remember him, some of you do. He had a big band, and Omo Wale, I was hanging with him, going everywhere. When I have company, I can stretch out. And he introduced me, which I already knew Wardell, but he kind of made him let me sing a song on his set. And that was my first set. And my knees was shaking so bad. I think that was part of the song.
Percussion's what you need.
You know? Yeah.
So what was that experience like? Oh, what was, sorry. What was that experience like? How, what did you feel from the audience? Or was there a moment when you just, oh,
Well, I had to close my eyes. But when I did open them, I kind of looked down. I wouldn't look out, especially when I wasn't sure of the lyrics. So if I looked out, sometimes I would forget where I was. So, I just would look away or look down, and I made it through.
and you made it through. And then, if she forgets, you can count on a scat coming.
Sure enough.
Thank God for scatting.
But you haven't heard my whistle yet.
Well, all right. Oh, we can go.
Okay.
Okay. But we're not going to have a whistle off tonight.
Gotta feel that.
I hear you. Miss Sasha, tell me about your first one.
Well, actually my career started in Los Angeles, and so I was, doing whatever I needed to do out there to try to get a gig or acting part, and then I came back to Chicago, and so I'd say my very first gig where I made money was with. Does anybody remember Lefty Bates? He had a group of the Ink Spots, and he was looking for a vocalist. And what was that club that was on Cottage Road? The Tornado, or one of those clubs that had live entertainment. Well, Al Hibbler was at that club that night. Pardon me?
No.
Maybe it was. And Al Hibbler was there. Al Hibbler was a friend of my aunt's. And so when I told him who I was, he said, "Let me hear you sing something." I did. He told Lefty, "You need to take her." And so I went on, and Lefty had a group of the Ink Spots. And we toured. So my first real gig, what I call really making money, real money, was with Lefty Bates's group of the Ink Spots. And we toured the Yukon, Alaska. It was like a 3-month tour. So that was really the first, my first real gig. It was so cold. The wind chill factor was 200 below, and they said it was unseasonably warm.
And where was that?
Pardon me?
Where was that?
That was in Whitehorse, Yukon.
Okay.
And Whitehorse, Yukon, yeah.
Whoa.
And then when I came back, I started doing, getting gigs, and that led to the Dinah Washington show.
Awesome. So awesome. Man, you would never know these stories unless Lady Margaret brought this event to us. So how about a hand for Lady Margaret, wherever you are?
Yeah.
Yes.
Move it on up.
I just have one more question, and then Lady Margaret is going to come and take over for me because I have to go. I want to know, ladies, what is one of the most memorable shows or moments as a performer that you ever had?
Mine was when I had the privilege and the great opportunity of being part of the Cool Jazz pre-festival at Carnegie Hall. The pre-festival. So it wasn't. I did not do a show at Carnegie Hall. I did, but it was the Cool Jazz Festival pre-festival.
Girl, just be like, I was at Carnegie Hall, okay, y'all?
George Wein, I don't know if you know that name. George Wein was the producer of the major festivals throughout the United States. In fact, he started sponsorship for festivals. And he had come to see Sasha sing Dinah. And he booked me for the pre. And so that was really a big deal to say that I was at Carnegie Hall for the pre-jazz festival. Part of the show.
That would be way down in the footnotes. Okay? Tell me about a moment. Tell me about a moment during that where you just so into the music, you just lost yourself. Next thing you know, the song was over. You don't even know how it happened.
Yeah, I went off key, and one of the critics gave me a
I didn't know it was going to be that. But that's okay.
I was like, I'm in Carnegie. Oh, yeah. And I hit one of those strange notes, and the critic said something about it. But so I would say that was it.
Girl.
And then there was another moment when I wasn't singing, but Leonard Feather came and gave me a compliment. And so that was nice, yeah. That was a highlight.
Well, I haven't had any highlights quite as highlighted as you. Because I was young at it then, and I haven't been overseas yet, but hopefully before long someone will say, "Come on, girl." But I think the most memorable one was when I first got started, and I was with a 8-piece band, and they let me do my thing, and it was just very enjoyable, and the people enjoyed it, so it was memorable.
Awesome. And
they paid too.
Hey. And that's always nice when you get the check at the end of the night. So, I don't see Lady Margaret. She stepped. Oh, there she is. I'm going to call Lady Margaret up to that's my name for her, Lady. Cecile, I see you out there. Wonderful bassist and vocalist extraordinaire. Yes, I see you over there, Miss Shannon. I see you. Yes. So, I'm going to turn the mic over to the beautiful, the enchanting songstress, and MC and producer and director and star, Mrs. Margaret Murphy Webb.
Yeah.
Mavinetta has to make a run, so we're doing a tag team. Hey, y'all. So I was sitting in the back listening. June, did you talk about your jam session? I want June to
No.
talk a little bit about City Life, what she did there.
That was very memorable, and I still memory in the brain. But for 22 years, every Sunday, and I think out of those 22, I might have missed 5, and that was either because of bad weather or they told me they had other things booked for that time. But it was great, and every Sunday, without fail, the guys were eager to be there, and we just played and played and played. And my opening song from day one was A Train, and still today. And I never did it the same way week after week. It was always a different beat, and we loved it. Everybody loved it, I think, you know. But it was great, and I miss it so much. I
I want you
really.
to drop some names of the musicians who were at City Life with you.
Well, when I first started, it was Louis Ball and Gary King and John Whitfield. Those were the first ones. And then we moved on, got the horns, forget this guy's name, but we got Dennis Luxian and Tom Vitus, yeah, and Corky, yeah, Bugs on drums. Yeah, I sure did. Uh, and so many. Oh, I have to put on my thinking cap, really, because it was just fantastic. And we love, when I've run into a lot of those guys, well, I haven't run into, John Whitfield. I plan to visit with him. Great basses. But all the others, if I run into them, if they're on a set, they'll call me up. I enjoyed that too. Still do.
With your yes, please.
Yes.
22 years. I'm following in your footsteps, June. Before we continue, I want Carolyn to come up here because this question is for all the ladies that are involved tonight. They call it a songbird, Miss Carolyn Fitzhugh.
Yeah.
So my next question is, don't fall for me, baby. My next question is, what do you think is the legacy of jazz on the south side of Chicago? Our venues are gone, our clubs are gone. Sasha knows I cry about this every day. What do you think is our legacy for music, because it began on the south side of Chicago? All the greats came to the south side to play. This is the 100th anniversary of Louis Armstrong coming to Chicago, and they're saying that because he came here, this was the stepping stone to him being a superstar. So there'll be some celebrations of that. But Sasha, what do you think about that?
What is our legacy?
What do you think is the future? What is the future of jazz on the south side?
I think all of the singers who are coming up, and those of us who are still here, and you have new artists, you have uh, Cinnabella, Carolyn. We have to be the future. I'll pull myself back from that since I'm being called a legend. But all of these artists who are now performing have to be the future because, as Margaret said, our history is so incredible. And I had the privilege of interviewing Jimmy Ellis before he made his transition. And if you haven't seen that article, please see it. It's really a great article. And Herman Roberts. And they both talked about what was happening. Herman from a businessman standpoint, and Jimmy from a musician standpoint. And one of the things he said that really resonated was when 63rd Street was really popping and the South Side was really what it was, musicians didn't have to take another job. They worked 7 nights a week and supported their families very well. And so that is one of the testaments to the effectiveness of what jazz and music was to the South Side. We have to bring that back, and the onus of doing that is up to us. And the responsibility that we all have is to support the Southside Jazz Coalition. And I'm not saying that because I'm a board member, but Margaret, it's we're on a mission. It's the coalition board calls it a mission. I call it a ministry, and we have to do this. We have to restore jazz music to the prominence that it was. 63rd Street, 75th, everywhere on the South Side should be bustling because there are enough artists in this city, and the young guys that are coming up. They are young enough to be the futures that are sitting here in this spot in 2045 talking about what happened in 2022. And then the other part of that is we have to support them. We have to support them. So that's what I see as the future is the artists that are here today that are performing, that are like Sandra Bivens. She's doing things on the South Side, and we have to keep that going. Otherwise, we have lost our legacy, and we can't do that. Yeah, did y'all know I went to seminary? Did I preach? But I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, no problem. Well, I think we got to go into those schools, grab those young folks that have potential and start. I really want to open a place where I can have that and they can come and learn poetry and use all the different instruments and rap, whatever, to get them off those streets. We have so many talented Black musicians and entertainers, and we've got to get them out here and let them see that there is a place for them,
Can I say something?
and I want to be that one.
Well, I have to say, Margaret, the queen of 75th Street, as she was so throned by the great late Yvon Freeman. He obviously saw marvelousness in you. And, well, I'm just saying this because, okay, I'm just going to give a little bit of my story. When I was in my 20s, I sang with the Roosevelt University Jazz Orchestra, but I was an accounting major. And for 30 years, I worked for the federal government in accounting and IT. But half my career, at the 15-year mark, I decided I wanted to start being musically active again. I was a choir director and a musician in church, but I really felt the pull. So I bought a piano. And actually, I traded my childhood piano in for a baby grand because that was my dream. And then I started going, I got word of Yvon Freeman's set way long after it had been there. But I was, married mom and had 5 children, so I wasn't going anywhere. But when I went, I kept hearing the buzz about, you got to meet the queen of 75th Street. And, it's like, wow. And so she came and I was like starry-eyed because I had heard so much about the queen. And, Margaret talks real fast. And she says a lot of stuff. So I was scared. But, I know today Margaret loves me. That I know that for a fact. Ain't that the truth? Okay, I was going to let her use my mic. Because Margaret was courting her now husband, and so she wasn't coming as often. So Vaughn said, "You gonna be queen number two," and I was like, "What's gonna happen when Margaret comes back?" And Margaret came back. Who is this gonna be queen number two? And I said, "Well, I'm not the queen anymore." But Vaughn said, "No, we got two queens." So that's what he did. And Margaret will call me any day and say, "Hey, queen." And I say, "Hey, queen." But I say all this is because we're just a couple of years apart. But she mentored me. And June Yvon mentored me because they were there, consistently there. And I think as back to the question, as we look forward, and it's hard to find jazz on the radio 24/7 in any city, not just Chicago. Thank God for satellite, but we need to make sure it's heard. I remember going to visit my first grandchild. She was turning a year old. She couldn't talk that well, but I was working on this song by Flora Purim, 500 Miles High. So I was just singing it in my head, and then I started singing it out my mouth. And then my granddaughter said, "Someday," because that's all I was saying. And she just kept singing that over and over. And she was a year old. And her pitch was right there. And I was like, "You got this." So I really believe our young people, our not so young people, us up here, we all have to do the work. We all. It takes a whole more than a village, more than a village. But like you said, we got to support it. We've got to be there. I remember Judy Vaughn let me sub for her one time. Do you remember that? It was many years ago, and my ankles were shaking. I was like,
not just your knees.
but yeah, not just my knees and ankles. But she said, "You could do this, girl." But just and Sasha, I remember billboards back when I was working and I couldn't go out because I was a mama. I remember I was living 90th and Bennett, and I remember seeing billboards of you on Stony Island right before you get through the viaduct, and I would look up and be like, "Wow, wow." So we are rich in our art form. And I know many people ask me about McKee Fitzhugh. I'm going to tell you the truth right now. I am not his niece. I was his distant cousin. And I know I met him, but I can't remember meeting him. But I will tell you this. Von Freeman and Grady, Grady across the street, Grady Johnson, they told me so much about my family and about McKee Fitzhugh's Club on 63rd Street. And see, sometimes you don't always learn everything at home. We can teach each other. We can build, as we build each other up, we strengthen each other. We strengthen our children and grandchildren and children that aren't our children. That's really, the thing. It's like it doesn't have to be the bloodline, but that's our legacy, that's our family, and this is our heritage. This is the music that was started in America, okay? Gospel and jazz and blues. This all comes from this country. We go overseas. I think D. Alexander is in Europe now. They love jazz there. Where is our heart for jazz? This is our seed. Okay, let's cultivate our seed and let it blossom. Okay,
I'd like to add something to that, because that's very important that you said that. For a while, I toured with Lionel Hampton, and Hampton endowed a school of jazz, the School of Music in Boise, Idaho, what? Way in Boise, Idaho. Anyway, every year he used to have this big jazz festival, and all of the greats were there. That was the first time I heard Diane Krall before she became famous. I'm trying to get to this point. It's a lot. It's a big community of Indians. Those Indian children, I mean Cherokee, that form of Indian, they knew more about jazz than our kids do. They knew we would go. Part of the program was we would go into the schools and before the concert every evening and do seminars with the students. 99% non-black, because we're not going to Boise, Idaho. But the Indian reservations, we would go to the reservations. Those kids were singing "Take the A Train." They were singing all of Duke's songs. This was probably, when did Hampton die? It was just like the year before. The last time was the year before he died. And but what to footnote what Carolyn is saying is that we have to also teach the children, and to go back to what June was saying is it has to be more in the schools and in our families that the children learn who was Duke Ellington, who was Count Basie, who was Von Freeman, what did they do, who was Herman Roberts, the only black man to have a major nightclub in Chicago, the only one that brought all of the major stars in as a black producer, club owner. And we have to know who these people are. I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to shut up because I talk a lot. But I know. But in 1980, or when I opened Sasha Sing Dinah, I don't remember who our first bass player was, and in between Jimmy Ellis, there was another bass player. I heard this young boy, and I said, Corky, we ought to get him. And I said, that boy is going to be bad. He said, he's not old enough. I said, just get him in here anyway, because we were in a club. Who was that? Lonnie Plexico. Lonnie Plexico. And so I'm saying that we can spot these young people when they're young. I was listening to YouTube the other night, and I was listening to Betty Carter. When Betty Carter finished a song, she introduced her musicians. She called them by name, and I'm just going to use some names. Henry Brown, 22. Bass player, John Willie, 24. She went back and got those young guys, and they were playing their behinds off. What we're doing and using young musicians and exposing them is what our legacy is part of what our legacy is going to be. Can I say this? I'm so proud to be part of the Southside Jazz Coalition because that is Margaret's mission. I every day she's saying, we got to get these young kids. No, we got to do this for the young kids. So to answer your question, Margaret, in a long dissertation, the young people are the legacy. They will be part of the legacy.
I didn't want to cut you ladies off because you're really saying words that I like to hear. But I'm going to take questions and let you guys take some questions. But before I do that, it's not about me, but I have to say this. I'm on the Cultural Arts Council for the city. The number one goal, the reason that I got on that council was to bring music back in the schools. It's been 2 years. We've made no headway. None. The reason why I can go to the north side and teach music and go into that school and they got a band room is because what? Because those parents demand it. Those people in those communities demand it. We have to get up off our asses and stop talking about what our kids are not doing and make things available for our children. You call your North County alderman. You call your North County congressman and tell them you're making this money. But this is what we need you to do. We need arts and culture in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get off my soapbox. But that's something that we don't clap and then go home and say, I'm going to bed. Clap and then Monday morning get on the phone. Or send your alderman an email and say, why don't I have a festival? Why don't we have festivals on our block? Why don't we have pop-up jazz? You got the money. What are you doing with it? So You can tell I'm very, I'm very passionate about this. But before we come down, you guys can go out to my car and grab the goodies in the back because we're going to come down in about 10 minutes. Thank you. Um, Anybody have any questions for any of the ladies up here on the stand? And it is Women's History Month. Go ahead, Miss Cinderella. I see you over there. I'm going to point you out in a minute.
If you had to say that there's one thing you want people to remember you for, what would that be?
Repeat the question.
I said,
She ain't scared of the mic.
Hello, everybody. Anyway, beautiful. If you had one thing you wanted people to remember you for, what would it be?
I think it would be the way I tell a story. You know, it's not just singing jazz; it's telling the story with that jazz. You know, and when we can do it and not rush through it, take our time and let them be in that story, let you be in that story, I think that would be what I think would be memorable.
Well, I guess as you get older, you try to think about what you want to be remembered for. So I would like to be remembered as a woman who gave her life to trying to do everything she could to preserve Black history and to be committed to the arts and to my people and walk by faith and not by sight.
Okay, I'm gonna make it short. Okay, I'd like to be remembered as a listener. I know that's probably sounds strange, but I think it's important to listen to people, what they say and what they don't say. And sometimes, well, in my experience of being a listener, I've learned to speak to people in a way that they want to hear what I have to say or sing. I didn't always feel that way, that I was heard, and I think sometimes out of our experiences in life that we might see as difficult, I believe sometimes God gives us a ladder to climb up and say, okay, this is what you know, and what are you going to do with that? So with that experience of maybe not feeling like I wasn't heard, I started being a better listener. Because sometimes we have things to say and we don't know how to really say what we got, what's on our minds or on our hearts. But if somebody gives us a little bit of time without interrupting, we get it out. And that's what I hear in music, and these, as June said, in taking your time with the song and feeling the story. I'm also a composer, and that's what I get from when I get the message of the music that I'm going to write, music and lyrics. It's like, what is it? What do people need to hear? What do I need to say to help somebody? And that's what I want to be remembered for, that there's something in this song, there's something in the tone, there's something in whatever you got out of it, that I'm taking this home with me and it's going to help me. That's it. I know it wasn't short, I'm sorry.
I saw a hand back here. Talk loud, baby. I know you talk louder than that.
And I come from a music and a visual arts background. My granddad was my first piano teacher, but I was just in Milwaukee a couple of days ago with my mom, and we were talking about the music because my dad studied with Captain Diet And I got a chance to do that as a young kid and do Sabo. But I also taught photography in some of the art centers in the city. And it's the same thing with the visual arts. I mean, there's no arts anywhere, you know, and, you know, like I organized trips to take kids downtown to the Art Institute, to Columbia College, where I went to the Museum of Contemporary Photography. And these kids never even been downtown before. So, you know, we got to get that back again. And I didn't know if there's any schools. See, I don't live in the city anymore. I live in Gary, I mean, suburb, but, you know, I didn't know if there was any schools doing any arts in the city anymore.
There are. There are public schools doing arts. Because I teach for Ravinia and I teach on the north side for arts. So there are places. No, and I just taught at a school on the south side, Henderson. No, they didn't even have a music room. No.
Well, I mean, I'm with you, whatever you want to do. I'm willing to roll my sleeves up and try and get not only music, but in all the arts.
Yeah, and I'm for all the arts. I say all the time, if you put a saxophone in a child's hand, maybe he'll drop that gun. If you put a paintbrush in a child's hand, maybe he won't reach for a knife, or maybe he won't ask for your wallet.
When I was at Libby on 52nd and Lewis, and it was a joint thing through CPS and the YMCA. So I had about maybe 20 students for 6 weeks, and they did over 2,000 images. And we selected the best 50, and they had the director from the Y came out, and the principal and the assistant principal came out, and they were just in awe about the work. And I said, these kids got a ton of creative talent, but they don't have avenues to express it. You know, that's the issue.
Thank you, brother. You know, we got to do the work. You know, you can't just talk the talk. You got to do the work and make some calls. And you know what? You got to stir up some shit. Yes, sir. You know what, sir? And I really was talking about elementary schools. I'm sorry.
I sit on a school reform group that works in the Hyde Park, Kenwood, Woodlawn area called a CAP. And if someone like yourself and other people would want to come to one of our meetings and talk about getting music into the local schools, we would be happy to host you. And we have principals at our meetings, other people connected with CPS. So if you're interested in that, we can talk, you know, when this is over or whatever.
I'll be back there when I leave the stage. Yes, ma'am.
Out of all genres of music,
I can't hear you, darling.
I said, out of all of the genres of music that exist out here, why did you choose jazz as your particular genre?
Well, I choose it because there's so many beautiful stories about love and affection, you know, and you can sing it any way you want. You don't even have to do it like they did it. You can put any kind of beat, you know, any kinds of, you know, the way you sing it, the fast or the slow. So, you know, people listen to love stories. And that's why I like jazz.
Well, I would pretty much say the same thing, and my love of it came because by way of theater and listening to my family, and to music in my home, and so you know that would be my reason.
Okay, I'm short this time. When I was a little girl, my family had a two flat, and downstairs was my uncle and my aunt, and my uncle had a reel-to-reel recorder, and he played the voice of Morgana King. And when June said Morgana King, I was like 5 or 6 years old. I just went back right then because her voice was just, it was like looking out at the ocean. And that touched me. And that's okay, I'm being brief. It just takes sometimes one song or one something for a child to hear, and it just reels you in. It was beautiful. Okay.
I hate to cut the conversation because we just scratched the tip of the iceberg with these ladies.
So
But
why is it that you like jazz so?
the freedom.
I hear you.
The freedom. My
Yes.
father ever had a record shop, and like Carolyn, when I was 6 years old, I started working at the record shop with my dad, and I heard Cleo Lane. And when I heard Cleo Lane, matter of fact, that's my next CD, Cleo Lane's music, because a lot of black folks don't even know about Cleo Lane and the work she did here in America with Count Basie and Duke Ellington, amazing vocalist, and that had me hooked. But we're going to have to stop. I'm going to reiterate again. Talk to your local politicians. If you don't see what you want to see in your schools, raise some hell. Otherwise, nothing will help. Nothing will happen. Things will be the way they are. 10 years from now, we'll be up here still talking about how bad things are. We can't go on like this. But before we leave the stage, please give a round of applause to Miss June Yvon. Miss Sasha Daltonn.
Thank you.
And we're going to hear in a few minutes from Miss Carolyn Fitzhugh. You are all invited to go in the back and get some nibbles on me and the Southside Jazz Coalition. And also, before we finish, I want to thank all of the board members of the Southside Jazz Coalition. I want to thank all the volunteers of the Southside Jazz Coalition, because we could not do what we do without them, and we could not do this without you. So thank you so much for coming out in the rain. We really appreciate it. Sasha wants to say one more thing.
I have a book if anyone is interested. So please visit my table. Hold that up, James. The interesting thing about this is a jazz singer founded the world's largest gospel festival. So please support it. I have some CDs, the last of the Sasha Sing Dinah CDs. There are no more. So thank you very much for being here and listening to me, because I do talk a lot.
And keep on keeping on. Keep on loving jazz.
We're going to have about a 30-minute break, and then Carolyn's going to come up with her quartet. Thank you again for coming. Jazz on the South Side, baby. You can't tell no lies about us. So I'm going to have Carolyn and her band come. Oh, they eating. Y'all got to, I shouldn't have paid you. Should have waited. No, sit down, eat, finish eat. Yes. I'm sorry? The Bronzeville Jazz and Music Fest, August the 20th. Come see Miss Sandra Bivens if you want more information about that. Jazz is rocking on the South Side, y'all. All right, and I know Yvette is over at the quarry doing her thing, so we have to support one another. What's going on the 20th of October? Oh, the twins, Brenda and Linda, on the radio. On the radio. Okay, say those call letters for University of Chicago. WHPK 88.5. Thank you, Rudy. So you guys listen in. 88.5 WHPK Jazz Radio, Chicago. Last thing I want to say, Walmart donated a whole bunch of food. More food than we really have. We really need it. So y'all take some of this food home with you. Don't let the food go to waste. Just whatever you want, put it in your purses, in your pockets. Grab you some food.
Welcome back. As Miss June Yvon would say, thank you for sticking and staying. We're going to offer you a little entertainment, but just before I start, I'd like to introduce my band, because these guys are fantastic. On piano, keyboard, piano, we have Daniel Tabian. On bass, John Sims. And on the drums, Jonathan Winslow. So we're going to have a good time. Feel free to snap your fingers, click your heels, get up and dance, or whatever you're feeling. Well, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. No, do I, 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 do I. It don't mean nothing. All you gotta do is sing. Yeah, do I, 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 do I. Makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. All you gotta do is give it all you got. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. No, do I, 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 do I. Do little, 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 dee da ba ba. Do little dee da. Do I, do I, do I, do dee da. Dee be be do bo. Do be ga dee da bo. Do I, 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 do I. Da ba be ya da ba do dee do day. Da da ba ya da de ba 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 dee da. Ba da dee da ba do dee da. Do I, 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 do I. Now, I would like to invite the Queen of Chicago Scat to the stage, Miss Yvon. Let's do it, Yvon. Yeah. Do I, 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 do I. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Yeah. Do I, 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 do I. It don't mean a thing. All you gotta do is sing. Do I, do I, do I, do I, do I, do I. Makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Come on, baby, give it everything you got. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that sweet. Yeah. Do I, 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 yeah. Do I, 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 do I. One more time. Do I, 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 do I. Thank you. Thank you. And we all know that was an Ella Fitzgerald classic. So what we're going to do on this set is feature some of our wonderful women jazz singers for National Women's Month. So the next lady of classic jazz is Miss Carmen McRae. And just before, or as I go into this song, I'd like to send out a birthday wish to another lovely singer, Miss Diane Galloway. And Diane, we are glad there is you. Are there any other birthdays in the house? Rudy, I know you just passed. Happy belated. All right. In this world, ordinary people, extraordinary people, I'm glad there is you. In this world of overrated pleasures and underrated treasures, I'm glad there is you. I live to love, I love to live with you beside me. This road so new, I'll muddle through with you to guide me. In this world where many, many play at love and hardly ever stay in love, I'm glad there is you. More than ever, I'm glad there is you. John Sims. In this world of ordinary people, extraordinary people, I'm glad there is you in this world of overrated pleasures and underrated treasures. I'm glad there is you. I live to love, I love to live with you beside me. This road so new, I'll muddle through with you to guide me in this world where many play in love and hardly ever stay in love. I'm glad there is you more than ever. I'm glad more than ever. I am glad more than ever. I'm glad more than ever. I'm glad there is you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now this next young lady, she's still with us. So I thought, I know we love our jazz singers, our classic jazz singers of yesteryear. But this one lady, everything she sings just speaks to me. Miss Diane Reeves. And I'm so glad she's still singing. You go to my head. You go to my head, and you linger like a haunting refrain, and I find you spinning round in my brain like the bubbles in a glass of champagne. You go to my head like a sparkling sip of burgundy brew, and I find the very mention of you like the kicker in a julep or two. The thrill of the thought that you might Give a thought to my plea. Cast a spell over me. Then I say to myself, get a hold of yourself. Can't you see that it never, ever can be? You go to my head with a smile that makes my temperature rise. Like a summer with 1,000 Julys. You intoxicate my soul with your eyes, and I'm certain that this heart of mine hasn't a ghost of a chance in this crazy romance. You go to my head. Daniel Tavian on the piano. The thrill of the thought that you might give a thought to my plea. Cast a spell over me. Then I say to myself, get a hold of yourself, girl. Can't you see that it never can be? But you go to my head with a smile that makes my temperature rise. Like that summer with 1,000 Julys. You intoxicate my soul with your eyes, and I'm certain that this heart of mine hasn't a ghost of a chance in this romance. Thank you. Thank you. Quick announcement.
Thank you. So we have a benefactor in here who told me that if I ask a question about Sasha, he would buy the person that answers the question an autograph book. So Sasha said this earlier while she was speaking about her life, and I asked her what question did she want to ask, and she said, "Who was the band leader that she worked for?" No, Cecile. Somebody that's not a musician. Cecile, you already know. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am, it wasn't Von Freeman. And nobody knows? No, Russell, no. The regulars all know. Yeah. No, Gail, not you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We got a winner. Lionel Hampton. So, gentlemen, this lady right here. He's a anonymous rich benefactor. He'll be over there to speak to you in just a moment. Okay. And Sasha, you have to autograph a book for that young lady. Get your money first, Sasha. Don't do it for.
Oh, Mike's back. Well, we heard a little bit about Miss Dinah Washington tonight. This is one of the songs, one of the many songs, as Miss Sasha Daltonn said, that she made famous. And the beautiful thing about jazz is we can all sing the same songs 100 times, but it always sounds a little bit different. Did you say I've got a lot to learn? Well, don't think I'm trying not to learn, since this is the perfect spot to learn. Teach me tonight, starting with the ABC of it, right down to the XYZ of it. Help me solve the mystery of it. Teach me tonight. The sky is a blackboard high above us, and if a shooting star goes by, I'll use that star to write I love you 1,000 times across the sky. But one thing isn't quite clear, my love. Should the teacher stand so near, my love? Graduation's almost here, my love. Teach me tonight. Daniel Xavier. Jonathan Winslow. If a shooting star goes by, I'll use that star to write I love you 1,000 times across the sky. One thing isn't very clear, my love. Should the teacher stand so near? Graduation's almost here. Come on and teach me tonight. Graduation is almost here. Teach me, teach me, teach me tonight. Thank you, thank you. Sweet Sarah, sassy Sarah. The shadow of your smile. Is that me? The shadow of your smile when you are gone will color all my dreams and light the dawn. Look into my eyes, my love, and see all the lovely things you are to me. A wistful little star was far too high. A teardrop kissed your lips, and so did I. Now when I remember spring, all the joy that love did bring, I will be remembering the shadow of your smile. The shadow of your smile when you are gone, when you are gone, will color all my dreams and light the dawn. Look into my eyes, my love, and see all the lovely things that you are
to me. A wistful little star was far too high. A teardrop kissed your lips, and so did I. Now when I remember spring, all the joy your love did bring, I will be remembering the shadow of your smile. The shadow of your
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, this next tune, we're going to feature a lady that was also mentioned on the stage, Miss Gloria Lynn. And this is All of Me.
all of me. Why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take my lips, I wanna lose them. Take my arms, I'll never use them. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on, dear, without you? You took the part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? All of me, why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm just no good without you? Take these lips, I'll never use them. Take my arms, I feel like I wanna lose them. 'Cause your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on? How can I go on without you, dear? You took that part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? Daniel Tavia. Let's hear it from. John Sims on the bass. Jonathan Winslow on the drums. All of me, why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take these lips, I wanna lose them. Take my arms, I'll never, never use them. Your goodbyes left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on here without you? You took the part that once was my heart. So why not, 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 so why not, so why not, so why not take all of me? Thank you. Thank you. Let's hear it from our band. These guys are so fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. This next young lady, well, I'm going to call them all young ladies because, you know, we're all young at heart. She's no longer with us, but I just loved her. Miss Abby Lincoln. Chicago Abby Lincoln. There was a boy very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far, very far, over land and sea. A little shy and sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day, he passed my way. And as he spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you could ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far, over land and sea. Little shy, sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day passed by my way. And as he spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you could ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Daniel Tavian. John Sims. There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far over land and sea. so shy and satisfied, but very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day, he came and passed my way. And as he spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you could ever learn is just to love. It's just to love. It's just to love and be loved in return. In return. The greatest thing you'll ever learn, the greatest thing you will ever learn, the greatest thing you will ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Margaret, how are we doing on the time? 5 minutes. Okay. So, 5 minutes. I think, Margaret, you want to join me on the stage? Miss Margaret Murphy Webb. Yes. This last song we're going to do is so special. A few years back, Margaret called me. She was recording her CD. And she said, Carolyn, I want you to do a duet with me. And I was like, who, me? And this was a long time ago. I wasn't doing much singing back then. But Margaret, she said, listen to this. It's Carmen McRae and Betty Carter. They recorded Stolen Moments. And we're going to do that. And the Queen, I bowed down to the Queen and said, yes, Your Majesty. But it was truly an honor, and I asked Margaret if she would give us a chance to do this live. First time in 15 years? First time. So this is special. I want to close out with this. How I miss all our stolen little moments, the many times I'm not with you. They are such special stolen moments that are meant only for us two. Whenever you're gone and you know I'm not here, it's so hard to remember when you disappear. But with your face look her right in front of me, dear. But you belong to her. But you belong Why can't I always have you here, holding you in my arms forever? And I'll never have any fear whenever you're gone and I know you're not here. It's so hard to remember how you disappear with your face always there right in front of me, dear. But you belong to her. But you belong to her. I have heard when you have stolen moments, it is called an affair, unfair. I don't want to have just stolen moments. Baby, be mine and I'll always there. Whenever you're gone and I know you're not here, it's so hard to remember when you disappear with your face always there, right in front of me, dear. But you will belong to her. How I miss all our stolen moments, the many times I'm not with you. They are such precious stolen moments that are meant only for us two. Whenever you're gone and I know you're not here, it's so hard to remember when you disappear. With your face always there right in front of me, dear. But you belong to her. But you belong to her. But you belong to me. But you belong to me. Me. That's it. Thank you. Let's hear it for the band. Daniel Tavian on piano. John Sims on bass. Jonathan Winslow on the drums. My name is Carolyn Fitzhugh. I have CDs for only $10. I take cash. I take cash app. Just point your finger at the picture. Take a picture with your camera and get your CD. Get your CD. Take me home with you. Yeah. Thank you. I'll be right at the table here. Thank you. It's been a ball. You've been a fantastic audience. And here's the queen. You all give. Wait, I got to say something before she leaves. So I was lucky enough to go to Germany and sing. Didn't nobody talk while I was on the stage. You did not hear a pin drop. And I was in the back and I heard all kind of conversations. One guy was talking about his drawers. So, sir, you know who I'm talking to. Go home and change them. Next time, don't come to our events and sit at the table while this woman is up here singing and talk about your underwear because we don't care. So we want to give our artists support and we want to give them respect. And with that said, thank you all so much for coming. April 12th, the Chicago Horns. Miss June Yvon, thank you so much. You are a legend of the South Side. Sasha Daltonn is a legend on the South Side and in her own mind. Thank you guys so much for having us. Look, she give me a dirty look. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you soon. Oh, we still have some food. If you like
If you like sandwiches, Walmart made them sandwiches just for us. Go on back there and get some of them sandwiches and take them home. Thank you guys so much. Be careful. She's asking who the band is.
Yes. The band members are on piano, Daniel Tabian. On bass, John Sims. On the drums, Jonathan Winslow. Yes.